The screech of metal against asphalt ripped through the morning air as Maya Chen's car careened toward the intersection, her foot slamming uselessly against a brake pedal that had gone completely dead. Time fractured into terrible slow motion as the traffic light ahead burned red, as the crosswalk filled with morning commuters, as her hands gripped the steering wheel so hard her knuckles went white. She yanked the emergency brake with everything she had, felt the car shudder and fishtail, tires screaming as she swerved hard right into an empty parking lot. The vehicle spun twice before crashing into a concrete barrier with a sickening crunch of fiberglass and steel. Maya sat frozen in the sudden silence, her entire body shaking, her breath coming in short gasps. She was alive. Somehow, impossibly, she was alive. Through the cracked windshield, she could see people running toward her car, their faces twisted with concern. But all Maya could think about was the conversation she'd overheard the night before, her husband Derek's voice drifting through the bedroom door as he spoke on the phone in his study. The brake line? Yeah, it's done. She'll never know what hit her. Before we dive deeper into this story, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Trust me, you're going to want to follow this journey all the way through. Maya had convinced herself she'd misheard, that exhaustion from back-to-back shifts at the marketing firm had warped her perception, made her paranoid. Derek had been distant lately, cold even, but cutting her brake lines? That was insane. That was movie villain territory. That wasn't the man she'd married 5 years ago, the man who'd promised to build a life with her, who'd convinced her to make him co-owner of the digital marketing company she'd built from nothing. Except now, she sat in a demolished car with a brake pedal that had failed completely, and those words kept echoing in her skull. Ma'am, are you okay? A young man in a coffee shop uniform tapped on her window, his face creased with worry. Maya nodded slowly, managed to unbuckle her seatbelt with trembling fingers, and pushed open the door. Her legs nearly gave out when she tried to stand. "I'm fine," she heard herself say. "I'm fine. The brakes just stopped working." The police came. A tow truck arrived. Maya answered questions in a voice that didn't sound like her own, watched as they loaded her car onto the flatbed. The officer, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, handed her a card. "We'll have the vehicle inspected, Mrs. Chen. Brake failure like this, especially in a car only 3 years old, that's unusual. We'll call you with the results." Maya clutched the card, nodded, and called an Uber. She didn't call Derek. Something primal in her gut screamed that calling Derek right now would be the worst mistake of her life. She went to her office instead, her sanctuary, the place she'd built before Derek had ever entered her world. Her assistant Jennifer took one look at her and rushed over. "Oh my God, Maya, what happened?" "Car accident. I'm okay." The words came out flat, automatic. Jennifer guided her to the private office, brought water, hovering with concern. Maya waved her off gently, said she just needed a moment alone. When the door finally closed, Maya pulled out her phone with shaking hands and scrolled to a contact she hadn't called in months. Lena Hoffman, Derek's older sister. They'd been close once, before Derek had started systematically isolating Maya from everyone in his life, claiming his family was too demanding and that they needed space to build their own unit. The phone rang 3 times before Lena's familiar voice came through. "Maya? Is everything okay?" The concern in Lena's voice almost broke her. Maya swallowed hard. "Lena, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Has Derek said anything to you about me lately? Anything at all?" There was a pause, too long to be comfortable. "Maya, where are you right now?" "My office." "Why?" "Stay there. Don't go home. I'm coming to you right now, and we need to talk." The line went dead. Maya sat staring at her phone, her heart hammering against her ribs. 45 minutes later, Lena walked through her office door, and Maya knew immediately from her expression that everything she feared was true. Lena was tall, sharp-featured, with the same dark eyes as Derek, but none of his calculated charm. She'd always been direct, sometimes brutally so. She closed the office door behind her and locked it before turning to face Maya. "Show me your arms." "What?" "Your arms, Maya. Show me." Confused, Maya pushed up her sleeves. Lena's jaw tightened as she examined the faint bruises on her wrists, marks Maya had attributed to bumping into furniture, to her own clumsiness. When did he start getting physical? He hasn't. Lena, Derek's never hit me. He doesn't have to hit you to hurt you. Lena pulled out her phone, scrolled through something, then handed it to Maya. 3 days ago, Derek called me asking about your life insurance policy. Wanted to know if I knew the details, how much it was worth, who the beneficiary was. I told him that was a sick question and hung up on him. Then yesterday, he called our mother asking if she knew a reliable mechanic who could do discreet work on a vehicle. The room tilted. Maya gripped the edge of her desk. "My brakes failed this morning," she whispered. "I almost died. There were people in the crosswalk, Lena. If I hadn't pulled the emergency brake when I did..." Lena's face went pale, then hardened into something fierce and protective. "That son of a bitch! That absolute son of a bitch!" She started pacing, her hands clenched into fists. Okay, listen to me very carefully. You cannot go home. You cannot let him know that you suspect anything. The police are inspecting the car?" Maya nodded. "Good. When they confirm tampering, that's evidence, but it's not enough. We need to be smart about this. Derek's been planning something, and if he's desperate enough to try to kill you, he won't stop just because this attempt failed." "Why would he want me dead?" Maya's voice cracked. "The company, it's in both our names, but I built it. Everything we have, I worked for it. What does he gain?" Lena stopped pacing, met her eyes with an expression of deep sadness. "You made him co-owner last year, right? And you have that life insurance policy through the company, the big one." Maya's blood turned to ice. $5 million, death benefit, payable to the spouse. She'd set it up as part of their estate planning, never imagining she was painting a target on her own back. "He gets everything," she breathed. "The company, the insurance, the house, all of it. And probably thinks he's clever enough to get away with it." Lena sat down across from Maya, leaned forward with intensity. "But he made one critical mistake. He underestimated both of us. You're the smartest person I know, Maya, and I've been watching my brother turn into someone I don't recognize for the past 2 years. If we're going to stop him, we need to be strategic. We need evidence, documentation, everything. Can you do that? Can you hold it together long enough to take him down the right way?" Maya thought about the brake pedal that failed, about the crosswalk full of innocent people she'd almost plowed through, about the man she'd loved who transformed into someone capable of murder. Something hardened in her chest, something that felt like steel wrapped around her spine. "Tell me what we need to do." Lena smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a woman ready for war. "First, we need to bring in someone else, someone he doesn't know about. Do you have a friend, someone you trust completely, who's good with technology?" Maya immediately thought of Rebecca Santos, her college roommate, now a cybersecurity consultant who'd helped Maya set up all her company's digital infrastructure. "I have someone." "Call her right now, tell her everything, and tell her we need her help. Then you and I are going to make a plan, and we're going to execute it perfectly because we only get one shot at this." Maya's hands were steadier now as she dialed Rebecca's number. When her friend answered, Maya didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Becca, I need your help with something serious, life or death serious. Can you come to my office right now?" "On my way," Rebecca said immediately. 20 minutes. Maya hung up and looked at Lena, saw her own determination reflected back at her. "He's not going to win this," Maya said quietly. "No," Lena agreed. "He's really not." If you're hooked on this story, drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Maya's fight is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Rebecca arrived 17 minutes later, her laptop bag slung over her shoulder and her expression deadly serious. She'd known Maya long enough to understand that when Chen said life or death, she meant it literally. Lena locked the office door again as Rebecca settled into a chair, her dark eyes moving between the two women. "Talk to me," Rebecca said simply. Maya told her everything. The overheard phone conversation, the brake failure, the insurance policy, Derek's calls to Lena. With each detail, Rebecca's expression grew harder, more focused. When Maya finished, Rebecca was already opening her laptop. "How much access does Derek have to your digital life?" Rebecca asked, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "Everything. Email passwords, bank accounts, company systems. We shared all of it." "Not anymore, you don't." Rebecca's jaw tightened. "Maya, I need you to listen very carefully. Don't react. Don't change your behavior at home. But starting right now, we're going to create a shadow infrastructure. Derek thinks he has eyes on everything you do, but he's about to go blind in ways he won't even notice." Lena leaned forward. "What does that mean exactly?" "It means," Rebecca said, her eyes never leaving her screen, "that we're going to set up separate accounts, encrypted communication channels, and hidden documentation systems. Everything Maya does from now on will look normal on the surface, but underneath, we'll be building a case he'll never see coming. I'll need about 3 hours to set this up properly." Maya watched Rebecca work, felt something shift inside her. For the first time since the brakes had failed, she didn't feel helpless. She felt dangerous. "There's something else," Lena said quietly. "Derek's been having meetings, lunch meetings, dinner meetings, always at expensive restaurants. Our mother mentioned it last week, said he was networking. But Derek's never networked a day in his life. He's always relied on Maya's connections." "Who's he meeting with?" Maya asked. "That's the thing. Mom didn't recognize the name. Someone called Julian Vance." Rebecca's fingers froze on the keyboard. She looked up sharply. "Julian Vance? The corporate lawyer? You know him?" Maya felt her stomach drop. "Know of. He's got a reputation, specializes in hostile takeovers, asset restructuring, making people disappear from their own companies. He's brilliant and completely ruthless." Rebecca's expression darkened. "If Derek's talking to Julian Vance, this isn't just about insurance money. He's planning to take everything." The three women sat in silence for a moment, the weight of it settling over them. Maya's phone buzzed. Derek's name lit up the screen. Her hand hovered over it, trembling slightly. "Answer it," Lena said firmly. "Act normal. You're shaken from the accident, but you're okay. Nothing more." Maya took a breath and answered, putting it on speaker so the others could hear. "Maya, baby, where are you? I've been calling for hours." Derek's voice dripped with concern, so convincing it made Maya's skin crawl. "I'm at the office. There was an accident this morning, Derek. My brakes failed." "What? Are you okay? Why didn't you call me?" The perfect amount of shock, of worry. Maya wondered how she'd ever believed any of it was real. "I'm fine. Shaken up, but fine. The car's totaled, though. Police are having it inspected." A pause. Just a fraction too long. "Inspected? Why would they need to inspect it?" "Standard procedure, apparently. Brake failure in a newer car. They said it's unusual." Maya kept her voice steady, watched Lena and Rebecca watching her with fierce approval. "Right, of course. Well, I'm just glad you're safe. Come home, sweetheart. You shouldn't be working after something like that." "I will. I just need to finish a few things here first. Few hours, maybe. I'll make dinner, your favorite. We'll talk about getting you a new car." His voice was huddy, poisoned through. "I love you, Maya." The words hit her like a physical blow. She'd believed those words once, built a life around them. "Love you too," she managed, and ended the call. Her hands were shaking again. Rebecca reached across and gripped one of them hard. "You did perfect," she said. "Absolutely perfect." "He knows," Maya whispered. "He knows they're inspecting the car and he's scared." "Good," said Lena coldly. "Let him be scared. Scared people make mistakes, and we're going to catch every single one." Over the next 2 hours, Rebecca transformed Maya's digital life. New encrypted email, cloud storage that Derek couldn't access, a hidden recording app on her phone that would capture every conversation, and a GPS tracker that would log her location every minute of every day. "This last part is important," Rebecca explained, showing Maya the tracker interface. If anything happens to you, if you disappear, if there's another accident, we'll have a complete record of your movements. But more than that, I'm linking this to both my phone and Lena's. If you're ever in danger, you hit this panic button and we'll know exactly where you are." Maya stared at the small red icon on her screen, the reality of what they were planning crashing over her. "I have to go home to him," she said. "I have to sit across the dinner table from a man who tried to kill me this morning and pretend everything's fine." "Yes," Lena said, not unkindly. "You do. But you're not doing it alone and you're not doing it unarmed. Every conversation is now being recorded, every movement tracked. Every piece of evidence we need, we're going to get." "How long?" Maya asked. "How long do I have to live like this?" Rebecca and Lena exchanged glances. "As long as it takes to build an airtight case," Rebecca said. "Could be days, could be weeks. But Maya, the moment we have enough evidence, we move. We don't give him time to react or cover his tracks." Maya nodded slowly, then looked at Lena. "Why are you doing this? He's your brother." Lena's expression was ice and fire combined. "He stopped being my brother when he decided to murder an innocent woman for money. Your family now, Maya, the real kind, the kind that matters." She stood, pulled Maya into a fierce hug. "We're going to destroy him, together." When Maya finally left the office as evening fell, Rebecca's systems were running silently in the background, and Lena's contact was saved under a fake name in her phone. She drove the rental car towards the house she'd once thought of as home, her heart pounding with every mile. Derek was waiting when she walked through the door, his face arranged in perfect concern. He rushed to her, pulled her into his arms, and Maya forced herself not to recoil. "God, Maya, I was so worried. Let me look at you." He held her at arm's length, scanning her face, her body, looking for injuries. Or maybe, Maya thought with a chill, disappointed he didn't find any. "I'm okay, just sore, scared." "Of course you are. Come on, dinner's ready. You need to eat, get your strength back." The kitchen table was set beautifully, candles lit, her favorite pasta dish steaming in the center. It was a performance, Maya realized. Everything with Derek was always a performance. They sat. Derek poured wine, his movements smooth and practiced. "So the police are inspecting the car?" he asked casually, twirling pasta on his fork. "Yeah, they said they'd call with results in a day or two." "I'm sure it's just a mechanical failure. These things happen." He smiled at her, warm and reassuring. "The important thing is you're safe." Maya sipped her wine, let the silence stretch. In her pocket, her phone was recording every word. "Derek, can I ask you something?" "Anything, baby." "Are we okay? Financially, I mean. The company's doing well, but you've seemed stressed lately." His fork paused halfway to his mouth, just for a second. "We're fine. Why would you ask that?" "I don't know. You've been distant. Working late, taking all those meetings." She kept her voice gentle, curious, not accusatory. "Just networking, trying to expand our client base. You know how it is." He reached across the table, took her hand. His palm was warm, his grip firm. "Maya, I know I haven't been as present as I should be. That's going to change. This accident, it reminded me what's important. You're what's important." She looked into his eyes, these eyes she'd once loved, and saw nothing but calculation behind the performance. "I'm glad," she said softly. "I've missed you." "I've missed you too." That night, lying in bed next to him, listening to his breathing even out into sleep, Maya stared at the ceiling and felt the weight of what she was doing settle over her. This man had tried to kill her. This man who was sleeping peacefully beside her, who'd kissed her goodnight, who'd wake up tomorrow and try again if given the chance. Her phone buzzed silently under her pillow. A text from the number saved as Sarah, but actually Lena. "You're doing amazing. We've got you. Sleep if you can." Maya closed her eyes and waited for morning. Drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. Maya's dangerous game has only just begun, and the stakes are about to get even higher. The call from the police came 2 days later while Maya was in a strategy meeting with her creative team. She excused herself, stepped into the hallway, and answered with her heart hammering against her ribs. "Mrs. Chen, this is Officer Patricia Morrison. We've completed the inspection of your vehicle." Maya's hand tightened around her phone. "And?" "The brake line was severed. Clean cut, deliberate. This wasn't mechanical failure, Mrs. Chen. Someone tampered with your car. We're opening a criminal investigation." The hallway tilted. Maya leaned against the wall, forcing herself to breathe. "Do you have any idea who might want to harm you?" Officer Morrison's voice was gentle but professional. "I need to think about that," Maya said carefully. "Can I come down to the station tomorrow to give a full statement?" "Of course. I'll send you the details. Mrs. Chen, please be careful. Whoever did this, they meant for you to die." Maya ended the call and immediately texted the group chat Rebecca had set up on the encrypted app. Within seconds, both Lena and Rebecca responded. "Don't tell him yet. Act like you don't know. I'm running financials now. Found something interesting. Can you meet tonight?" "Where?" "My place, 8 p.m. Make an excuse." Maya slipped back into the meeting, her mind racing while her team discussed campaign strategies and client deliverables. She smiled, nodded, contributed ideas, all while the word severed echoed in her skull. Clean cut, deliberate. That evening, she told Derek she had drinks with a college friend visiting from out of town. He barely looked up from his laptop. "Have fun. Don't drink too much," he said absently, his eyes scanning whatever was on his screen. Maya grabbed her purse, kissed his cheek, because that's what the old Maya would have done, and left. She checked her rearview mirror 3 times on the drive to Rebecca's apartment, paranoid that Derek might be following her, but the streets behind her remained empty. Rebecca's apartment was a sleek downtown loft filled with computer equipment and monitors. Lena was already there, pacing near the windows with a glass of wine in her hand. Both women looked up when Maya entered, their expressions grim. "Show her," Lena said immediately. Rebecca pulled up a chair at her main workstation, gestured for Maya to sit. The screen displayed spreadsheets, bank statements, transaction records. "I hacked Derek's personal accounts," Rebecca said without preamble. "Don't ask me how. What matters is what I found. 3 weeks ago, Derek transferred $50,000 to an offshore account. 2 weeks ago, another $75,000. Last week, $100,000. Maya stared at the numbers. "That's our money, our savings." "It gets worse." Rebecca clicked to another screen. "He's been meeting with Julian Vance, like Lena said. I pulled Vance's calendar. They've met 6 times in the past month. And look at this." She pulled up an email, time-stamped from 4 days before the break incident. This was sent from Vance's firm to Derek. Maya read the email, her blood turning cold. "Derek, the documents are prepared per your specifications. Once the triggering event occurs, we can move forward with asset transfer and corporate restructuring. Everything will be executed within 48 hours. My condolences in advance for your loss." "Triggering event," Maya whispered. "He means my death." "Yes." Lena's voice was sharp with fury. "My brother hired a lawyer to help him steal your company before he even tried to kill you. This was all planned, Maya, meticulously." Rebecca pulled up more documents. Vance prepared paperwork to transfer full ownership of your company to Derek as surviving spouse. He's got shell corporations set up, offshore accounts ready. The moment you died, Derek was going to liquidate everything, disappear the assets, and probably vanish himself. Maya felt detached from her body, like she was watching this happen to someone else. The man she'd married, the man she'd built a life with, had plotted her murder with the cold efficiency of a corporate merger. "One more thing," Rebecca said quietly. "I found communications between Derek and someone else. The messages are coded, but I think I know what they mean." She pulled up a chat log. "This username, MechDoc, that's who actually cut your brake line. Derek paid him $10,000 in cash. I tracked the withdrawal from Derek's account and then found this message thread where they discuss completion of the automotive project." "Can we trace MechDoc?" Lena asked. I'm working on it, but even without his identity, we have Derek dead to rights. The financial records, the emails with Vance, the payment to McDoc, all of it paints a complete picture. Maya stood abruptly, walked to the window, stared out at the city lights below. Behind her, she heard Lena and Rebecca talking strategy, discussing lawyers and evidence chains and criminal prosecution, but all Maya could think about was Derek across the dinner table, his warm smile, his practiced concern. I want to confront him, Maya said suddenly. Both women stopped talking.
Maya, no, Rebecca said firmly. That's dangerous. We need to go to the police with this. Let them handle it. She's right, Lena agreed. The evidence is solid. We can take this to the cops tomorrow, and they'll arrest him. Maya turned to face them, and something in her expression made both women go quiet. He doesn't know we know about Vance. He doesn't know we found the money transfers. Right now, Derek thinks he's in control. He thinks he's won, that it's just a matter of time before he tries again and succeeds. Her voice was steady, cold. I want to see his face when he realizes he lost. I want him to know exactly who beat him. Lena studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, but we do it smart. We do it with backup, with everything recorded, and with an exit strategy if things go wrong. I can set up audio and video, Rebecca said, already thinking logistically. We wire you, set up cameras in the house, everything documented. But Maya, if he gets violent, if anything goes sideways, you run. Promise me. I promise. They spent the next 2 hours planning. Rebecca would install micro cameras in the house tomorrow while Derek was at one of his meetings. Maya would wear a wire. Lena would be parked outside with Rebecca, monitoring everything in real time, ready to call the police the moment things escalated. When Maya finally returned home that night, it was nearly midnight. Derek was still awake, still at his laptop in the study. He looked up when she entered, his expression unreadable. "Long drinks," he commented. "We had a lot to catch up on." Maya kept her voice light, moved to kiss his forehead. "I'm exhausted. Coming to bed?" "Soon. Just finishing some work." Maya climbed the stairs alone, her skin crawling with the knowledge of what was coming. Tomorrow, Rebecca would bug the house. The day after, Maya would confront Derek with everything. And then finally, this nightmare would end. She lay in bed, staring at her phone, at the panic button Rebecca had programmed. One press and help would come. One press and she'd be safe. But Maya didn't want safe anymore. She wanted justice. The next day unfolded with excruciating normalcy. Derek left for a meeting at 10. Rebecca arrived at 10:15 with a bag of equipment disguised as boutique shopping bags. Lena came with her, both women moving through the house with practiced efficiency. Living room, kitchen, study, bedroom. Rebecca murmured, placing tiny cameras that looked like electrical outlets, smoke detectors, decorative objects. Audio in every room. I'll have full coverage. Maya watched them work, felt the trap closing around Derek without him even knowing. By noon, the house was fully wired. By 1, Rebecca and Lena were gone, and Maya sat alone in her living room, surrounded by invisible eyes and ears, waiting. Derek came home at 5, Chinese takeout in hand, smiling. "Thought we could have a quiet night in," he said, unpacking containers. "Just us." They ate dinner, they watched television. Derek put his arm around her on the couch, and Maya let him, even as her skin crawled. Every word, every gesture, all of it recorded now. Evidence. At 9, Derek's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. "I need to take this. Work thing." He stepped out onto the back patio, and Maya immediately pulled up the app on her phone that let her access the audio feeds Rebecca had installed. Derek's voice came through clearly, sharp and irritated. "I told you to wait. No, the investigation doesn't matter. There's no way they can trace it back to me. Because I was careful, Julian, just like we planned. Yes, the documents are ready. We just need to be patient. Another week, maybe 2, then we try again, and this time there won't be any mistakes. Maya's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped her phone. There it was. Confirmation, confession, everything they needed.
Derek came back inside, his expression smoothed back into pleasantness. "Everything okay?" Maya asked. "Just client drama, nothing important." He settled back on the couch, pulled her close. "I'm glad we're doing this, just being together. I feel like we've been disconnected lately." Maya looked up at him, at this man who was planning her murder, and smiled. "Me too," she said softly. "I feel like everything's about to change." Comment below where you're watching from. Maya's ready to make her move, and Derek has no idea what's coming. Maya chose Monday morning for the confrontation. Derek would be relaxed, confident, coming off a weekend where nothing had gone wrong. She texted Lena and Rebecca the night before with a single word: tomorrow. She woke early, dressed carefully in a navy suit that made her feel armored and professional. This wasn't going to be an emotional breakdown. This was going to be an execution, cold and precise. Derek was already downstairs making coffee when she came down, the wire Rebecca had given her hidden beneath her blouse, transmitting everything to the van parked 3 houses down. "You're up early," Derek commented, handing her a mug. "Big day at work?" "Something like that." Maya accepted the coffee, set it down on the counter without drinking. "Actually, Derek, I need to talk to you about something important." He glanced at his watch. "Can it wait? I've got a meeting at 9. "No, it can't wait. Cancel your meeting." Something in her tone made him look up sharply. Maya met his eyes, let him see that she wasn't the frightened woman from a week ago. "What's this about?" he asked slowly. "It's about Julian Vance. It's about offshore accounts and shell corporations. It's about brake lines and insurance policies." Maya's voice was steady, clinical. "It's about the fact that you tried to murder me, Derek." The color drained from his face, then rushed back in a furious red. For a moment, he just stared at her, his mouth opening and closing. Then he laughed, but it was forced, brittle. "Maya, what are you talking about? Have you been sleeping okay? This sounds like—" "Don't." She cut him off, her voice sharp as broken glass. "Don't insult me by pretending. I know everything. The 50,000 you transferred 3 weeks ago, the 75,000 2 weeks ago, the 100,000 last week. I know about the documents Vance prepared to transfer my company to you. I know about McDoc and the 10,000 in cash you paid him to cut my brake line." Derek went very still. It was the stillness of a predator calculating odds, measuring distances. "You can't prove any of that," he said quietly. "Actually, I can." Maya pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, and Rebecca's voice came through the speaker, clear and damning. Derek's conversation from the patio 2 nights ago, every word of it. "That's you, Derek, talking to Julian Vance about trying again, about making sure there are no mistakes next time." His face transformed. The mask of concern, of love, of humanity, it all fell away, and what remained was something cold and hateful. "You've been recording me in my own house?" Maya's hands were shaking, but her voice stayed level. "The police have copies of everything, the financial records, the emails, the recordings. It's over." Derek moved so fast she barely saw it coming. He lunged across the kitchen island, grabbed her wrist hard enough to bruise. Maya gasped, but didn't scream, didn't give him the satisfaction. "You think you're so smart," he hissed, his face inches from hers. "You think you can just destroy me? Everything I've built? I made you, Maya. Before me, you were nothing. That company, your success, all of it happened because I was beside you."
"You were never beside me." Maya yanked her wrist free, stumbled back. "You were always just waiting for the right moment to take everything and bury me." In her ear, tiny and urgent, she heard Lena's voice through the nearly invisible earpiece. "Police are 2 minutes out. Keep him talking." Derek reached for her again, but Maya dodged, putting the kitchen island between them. "Why?" she demanded. Just tell me why. Was I really worth so little to you that murder was easier than divorce? He laughed, and it was genuinely amused, genuinely cruel. Divorce would have meant splitting everything. Your precious company that you love more than anything, I would have gotten half at most. This way, I got it all. The business, the insurance, everything. And nobody would have questioned the grieving widower. His eyes glittered with malice. You were always so trusting, Maya, so naive. Did you really think I loved you? I loved what you could give me, and when you stopped being useful alive, you became more valuable dead. The words should have hurt. A week ago, they would have destroyed her, but now, knowing that every syllable was being recorded, that police were seconds away, Maya felt only a cold satisfaction. That's where you're wrong, she said quietly. I was never naive. I just had the decency to believe people could be good. But you're exactly what you appeared to be. A small, greedy man who couldn't build anything on his own, so you decided to steal from someone who trusted you. Derek's expression twisted with rage. He started around the island toward her, and Maya's hand moved to her pocket, where her phone was, where the panic button waited. But she didn't need it. The front door burst open. Police! Hands where we can see them! Derek spun, his face contorting through shock, rage, and finally, resignation. Officer Morrison entered with 3 other officers, weapons drawn. Behind them, Lena and Rebecca rushed in, Lena's face fierce with protective fury, Rebecca clutching the tablet that had recorded everything. Derek Chen, you're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and fraud. Officer Morrison's voice was hard and professional. You have the right to remain silent. They cuffed him as they read his rights. Derek didn't struggle, but his eyes never left Maya's face. There was hatred there, pure and undiluted, but also something else, disbelief. He genuinely didn't think she was capable of this. You'll regret this, he said as they led him toward the door. You have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. I've taken my life back. They hauled him out. The house suddenly felt enormous and empty. Maya's legs gave out and she sank into a chair, her entire body shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. Lena was beside her instantly, arms wrapped around her, and Rebecca joined them, the 3 women holding each other in the kitchen where minutes ago Derek had confessed to murder. It's over, Lena whispered. It's really over. The DA wants to meet with you this afternoon, Officer Morrison said gently, approaching them. The evidence you've gathered is extraordinary. With the recordings, the financial documentation, everything. This is going to be an airtight case. He's looking at life in prison. Maya nodded, couldn't find words yet. Over the next few weeks, the story unfolded in stages. Julian Vance was arrested for conspiracy. MacDoc turned out to be a mechanic Derek had known from college, desperate for money, who flipped on Derek in exchange for a reduced sentence. The offshore accounts were frozen, the money returned. Derek's mask had finally, completely shattered. The preliminary hearing was brief. Derek's lawyer tried to argue entrapment, tried to discredit the recordings, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge denied bail, cited flight risk and danger to the community. Derek was led away in handcuffs, and this time he didn't look at Maya at all.
3 months later, Maya stood in her office, looking out at the city she'd almost left behind in a crosswalk. The company was thriving under her sole leadership. She'd promoted Jennifer to VP, brought in new clients, restructured everything Derek had touched. Lena had become more than a sister-in-law. She was family in the truest sense, the kind forged in fire and loyalty. Rebecca had taken a position as the company's security consultant, ensuring nothing like this could happen again. The trial was set for next month. The prosecution was confident. Maya would testify, would look Derek in the eye one final time and tell the jury exactly what he'd done, what he tried to take from her. But that was future Maya's battle. Present Maya was rebuilding, reclaiming, becoming someone stronger than the woman who'd almost died on that road. She'd learned that strength wasn't about never being vulnerable. It was about what you did when vulnerability was used against you. It was about the alliances you built, the evidence you gathered, the strategic patience you cultivated while pretending everything was fine. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lena. "Dinner tonight? Rebecca's coming too. We're celebrating." Maya smiled. "What are we celebrating?" "You. Us. The fact that justice actually won for once." Maya looked around her office, her company, her life that she'd fought to keep. Outside, the city gleamed in the afternoon sun, full of possibility and second chances. She typed back, "I'll bring the wine." Because this was the real victory. Not Derek's arrest, though that mattered. Not the trial that was coming, though that mattered too. The real victory was standing here, whole and alive and unbroken, surrounded by people who'd fought beside her when it would have been easier to look away. Maya Chen had been targeted for murder by the person who was supposed to love her most. She'd been betrayed, manipulated, nearly destroyed. But she'd survived. More than that, she'd won. And that, she thought as she closed her laptop and prepared to meet her friends, was the only ending that mattered. If this story moved you, inspired you, or kept you on the edge of your seat, do us a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Share this with someone who needs to hear a story about courage, strategy, and the power of refusing to be a victim. Because Maya's story isn't just about one woman's fight for justice. It's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we're stronger than we know, and we're never as alone as we feel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.